Okay, so today is Saturday, March 14th, and so I know I said in the last video that I was going to start getting some painting of the interior of the canopy done, but I figured that it was probably better to finish that remote mount avionics rack, and to do that I needed to start designing kind of the layout for my panel. And so I spent some time in CAD, and so yeah, basically this is kind of the result. I needed to be able to figure out kind of where the GPS was going to sit hanging back here, to figure out how far in I can move these comm radios. Basically was the whole point of it. So I had to model the sub panel here, and my shelf and everything, and each one of the components, and I think it came out pretty good. So yeah, basically this is kind of what I'm working with for the preliminary design of the panel. I know that there's a couple things missing. The couple breakers, even though there's a VPX, there are still a couple of breakers that need to be put in. This process has been, sorry, I got a phone call and it shuts off my video. So anyway, this process has been super educational for me. Just learning about each individual component and kind of the proper components to be on the panel here. For example, this is going to be my toga button, and that needs to be a double pull momentary button. So that's actually not easy to source. I've been kind of looking around for one of those. If anybody has a good source for a nice looking double pull single throw momentary push button switch, I know it's kind of specific, but yeah, I'm all ears. Also, the ECU backup switch needs to be the same type, not momentary. Double pull, single throw. So that just means single throw is on, off, and double throw would be on, off, on for two different functions, and double pull means it's switching two units. But anyway, I was able to source some of the stuff and kind of playing with ideas for a push start button here rather than a key, and kind of hiding another switch to allow this to be activated, and that kind of helps a little bit with the anti-theft component. But yeah, anybody who's been watching my videos knows as of now I've got like 6 keys to operate the plane, so I don't need to add any more. So yeah, that's kind of what I got done, and so that prompted me to come in here on Saturday for a little bit of fun stuff. Basically, I was able to build out my remote rack here. Now everything's fitting properly. So I put the front skin on just to double check. There's plenty of clearance between my intercom thing here, and got those radios put in. All I had to do was kind of condense the gap just slightly, bring them slightly closer together, but you can see there's still clearance, and also bring it in maybe an inch. And so yep, everything's looking good there. But the real fun part was I mocked up a panel. So here's what I've got so far. I learned a couple of things along the way. Some things, I don't actually use my router on aluminum very often. So just kind of the feeds and speeds and tooling for that was kind of a little bit of a step. Routing aluminum is not really a glorious process. It throws chips everywhere, but anyway. So yeah, basically I've got these switches kind of fully mounted out, because to make them flush like this, you have to tighten from the back, and that's just a pain. But these holes are for switch guards, so these will be fuel pumps, lane A, lane B, and their lights, and a warning light here. Yeah, I think it kind of came together pretty good. The racks for these have kind of like countersunk holes mounting outwards, which end up going through the rack, and then I cut this support brace out here, and yeah, it goes through the rack, and no countersunk screws really fit, so I can only fit them in on one side, And on the other side, for now, there's no screws. I'm not really sure what kind of screw is supposed to be in there. Maybe a rivet, because they've got a flatter head. I guess that's what I'll try next. But yeah, it's coming together. And so the next couple of things I get to play with are, and like I said, this is just kind of a mock-up test panel. It won't be my final one. There's a couple of holes missing. The final one, of course, would be, I'm not sure if I'm going to anodize it yet, or powder coat it, or use this kind of carbon fiber vinyl wrap. This is what my original plan was, but I need to be able to hopefully use the router. I sold by laser recently. I need to be able to use the router to kind of etch through whatever I put on the top of it to kind of label everything. And so that's kind of the next thing I'm going to get to play with here. Now that the panel's cut, I'll of course pull all the avionics out and start messing with maybe putting that vinyl wrap on it, see if my router can etch through. I have a feeling it's going to kind of, the adhesive will bind up in the tool and not leave a perfectly smooth engraving. And so I may just have to, I know a laser would work perfect for that. I should have done it before I got rid of my laser, but I'm trying to downsize the things that I don't use before I move. So yeah, I think that's the update for the week. This was pretty rewarding for me. I know it doesn't look super exciting because it's just bare aluminum, but it was a fun process, and I got to kind of feel how everything mounts together and give me a better idea of what I need to do to improve it for the final design. I'm waiting for my start button to come in, and like I said, I couldn't find the toga button that looks good. They're always like these big protruding ugly switches. So yeah, that's it. Have a good weekend, and hopefully nobody's getting the corona cold thing. So good luck acquiring enough toilet paper to survive the epidemic.